Here's what's coming up on episode 76 of the Big Seance podcast. Amy Bruni and Adam Berry, from ghost hunters to kindred spirits.
You know, one of the things with Ghost Hunters, while totally an amazing experience and we're so thankful for it, you know, we had no control over editing or anything. And so when we saw the episode, when the episode aired, that was the first time we saw the episode.
And I think it's really great that our fans and the people that have been following us for many, many years know how credible we are, know that we mean what we say. And I think it's important for them to know that we do have control over what you're watching.
Kindred Spirits, it's a whole new ball game, and I think people need to get ready for the feels, as Grant Wilson said. Bring your tissues. Each episode is just a total journey with these families.
And we go and do this extensive EVP session where we just know, we feel like something is happening around us. There is something here. It's thick. It's palpable. And then we're like, oh my God, this thing is totally communicating with us.
The homeowner was very nervous and upset, and we got a piece of evidence that was pretty terrifying. And we were instantly like, we can't play this for her. We cannot show her this. This is going to freak her out.
Every one of them were erased.
What?
Yes.
I remember that. You even wrote about that.
Yes. Is this an Amy and Adam conspiracy because I caught you guys on a bad hair day? Or is it common for a location to be so haunted that, 8mm videotapes are completely erased? Welcome to the Big Seance podcast. I'm Patrick Keller of BigSeance.com, and this is a place for an open discussion on all things paranormal, but specifically topics like ghosts and hauntings, paranormal research, spirit communication, psychics and mediums, and life after death. So basically, anything that pops up in my paranormal world. The candles are already lit, so you might as well come on in and join the seance. Hello again. I'm so very excited for you to hear my interview from You're in the Parlor today. I've been trying not to sound too excited, but I've failed miserably, frankly. I can't hide it. Giant Amy and Adam fanboy here. And so I'm going to get right to it. After the interview, I'll have some listener feedback, so stay tuned. Here we go. Okay, guys, I am so excited. I am totally nerding out and having another one of those Elvis moments because I'm sitting here in the Big Seance parlor sipping my coffee with Splenda with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry, and I'm kind of losing my mind, guys. I'm not going to lie. So welcome, you two. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Very busy, but good.
It sounds like it, yeah. So what can I offer you to drink? What do you prefer to drink when you're sitting in a seance parlor?
I don't know. I'm drinking coffee. I'm drinking coffee now. It depends on how late the seance is.
Oh.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm currently drinking water, but usually it's wine, I would say.
Okay, well, and we can pretend too. That's okay.
I'm all about pretend wine or real wine.
Yes.
I'm all about vodka martinis.
Excellent. That makes for really exciting seances.
ones that we're not trying to help anyone or really change the face of the paranormal community. Those seances, as long as we're not doing anything important, we're cool.
There you go. We're keeping it responsible here.
Yeah.
So, I am so honored to have both of you here. You guys are like the ultimate fan favorites from all paranormal TV, but ghost hunters for sure. And you sent paranerds all over into a tizzy when you both announced your exit. And since then we've all been following you closely and just anticipating this next big project that you've started together. It's an exciting new series called Kindred Spirits, and it premieres on Friday, October 21st at 10/9 Central on TLC. So, somebody tell me, how did the idea for Kindred Spirits come about?
Well, I think that for us, we were really looking for something that would truly kind of go back to the roots of paranormal investigating and help people. And we just, even when we were still on Ghost Hunters and when we left Ghost Hunters, we just heard time and time again how people loved the investigations that involved homes and families because they could relate to it in many instances. And we missed those too. And so, that was kind of what drove the idea for Kindred Spirits. Was we really wanted to get back to basics, and we wanted to help people in the process. Obviously, that was the biggest thing. We wanted to just get our hands dirty and get in there and help these families. And we found families who are they were so desperate and terrified, and so it was a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, and we wanted to also, kind of showcase and document things that haven't been shown before in other paranormal genres, like a full, complete investigation rather than going in and saying, yes, we're having the same experience as you are. Yes, we caught this evidence. Yes, we think your place is haunted, and ending there. It's like going the step forward and, like Amy said, helping them and finding out who it is and what they want, and really trying to heal both sides of the spectrum, the living and the deceased.
I know from statements that you've both made in the past that whatever future TV project you guys had a hand in the future, it would have to be special. And while you are both executive producers, if I'm correct, for Kindred Spirits, how important is this role for this project?
Oh, huge. I mean, it's being being executive producer. I mean, we wouldn't want it any other way, because we want to be able to control the content. We want to be able to tell the story that we feel is being showcased in each investigation. And we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was, real and alive and very reputable to the field. Right, Bruni?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just, one of the things with Ghost Hunters, while totally an amazing experience and we're so thankful for it, we had no control over editing or anything. And so when we saw the episode, when the episode aired, that was the first time we saw the episode. And, in this case, like our episodes for Kindred Spirits, we've watched them multiple times already. We are able to, make sure the story gets depicted accurately, exactly the way it happened. It's wonderful to have that control over something that is so important to you, because, like I said before, these cases were just so personal, and it's still impossible to get just how powerful they were. I think we do a really good job, but even watching the episodes, it's just like, gosh, you're transported there for sure, but having lived it, it's amazing what we went through and are able to kind of get onto screen.
Yeah, and it's a delicate process to show the story to the viewers in a clean and precise way. But as you know, the show's only 45 minutes long, and we filmed for 5 days. So there are so many layers, and there are so many things that we could talk about, and things that we just don't have time for. So it's showing it appropriately and piecing it together where everyone can feel the story as much as we were feeling it, and really. I mean, I will also say there are tons of skeptics out there, obviously, that see these shows on television and, they don't believe any of it. And I think it's really great that our fans and the people that have been following us for many, many years know how credible we are, know that we mean what we say. And I think it's important for them to know that we do have control over what you're watching. We wanted that on purpose.
And that makes me happy to hear, because as someone who is a fan and who has followed you guys, that was important for me to see that you guys felt, that you had some control. And when I saw executive producers, that made me jump in line more confidently to see this project. And I was able to view the press screening copy of the premiere episode. And I just have to say, there are moments that take me back to experiences I've had where you get a response either through a voice or a response from a tool you're using, and you have that instant emotional reaction, or suddenly you find tears in your eyes. And it might sound weird to say, but that's what has me so excited for Kindred Spirits. What can you tell us about this premiere episode itself specifically?
Well, this was one of those cases that we went out, and actually many of our cases, where the family kind of thought they knew who was haunting their home. And as I think that you saw in the episode, we dig and dig and dig when it comes to research. And there's so many layers, especially in, the area that we're in New England. And this place was in Pennsylvania, but it was just, there's so many layers to the history of these areas, and it's just crazy what we're able to uncover. And I think that's what people are going to be really surprised by when they see the episode, is just one, how deeply we're able to research and what we're able to find out, and then what we're able to actually correlate with real evidence and experiences with what we found out through research. And it just like all comes together in this crazy way, and it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, and I will also say it's fun because we've seen the version of the show that you saw, but since then we've actually added maybe one thing, maybe two things back into the episode that we were like, no, we have to put these things back in the episode because it tells the story a little bit better. So you think you've seen the episode, but when you watch it, yeah,
you're just trying to hook me to get me to watch again. Come on,
no, really, we saw that episode and we were like, this is great, we loved it. But there was one key piece of evidence that we requested be put back into the, because obviously these cases, some of them, they just, so much came out of it, we weren't able to put everything in the episode. There just isn't time. And there was one key piece of evidence that they had left out, and we went back and forth and used our EP power, as we call it, to get it put back into the episode. And I think you'll really like it.
Well, it was very cool to see that research. You guys are talking about research, in the clip you see Adam actually, researching at the library. And that took me back to kind of the old days of ghost hunters, when sometimes they would show that more, the actual kind of historic research. That's cool to see. Looked legit to me.
The thing about Kindred Spirits is it's only Amy and I, and we do everything from interviewing every single person we possibly can that's connected to the experiences or to the property or to the history of the community or to the people who work at town hall. So we look through, every deed, land survey, records, ancestry, newspaper, microfiche. Like, we are digging until we can't dig anymore, until there's no more information, because everything that we find helps us in our investigation. So yeah, when you see me looking through those newspaper articles, it's because I pulled up a newspaper archive site and I typed in the name of where we were and who owned the land previously, and then searched to see if there was anything that popped up. And lo and behold, something popped up, and it led us to another layer of our investigation. So it was really important for us to show that, because that's another side of that's almost investigating is extremely important, obviously, but also extremely important is the history and the research that you do so that you can investigate.
In paranormal investigation, sometimes there's a fine line between what the client or the homeowner needs to know and what could be reckless or maybe even dangerous for them to know on an emotional level. And I feel like more than any show that there's ever been before now, Kindred Spirits really kind of rides that line, at least from what I've seen in the premiere. How do you determine how to control that? And do you have any rules for when this comes up?
Well, the thing is, they come back and when they see the episode, they're going to see everything we found, whether we tell them or not.
Good point.
That lends an interesting layer to this, because there definitely was one case we did, without, giving too much away, that the homeowner was very nervous and upset, and we got a piece of evidence that was pretty terrifying. And this was like on the first or second night we were investigating. And we were instantly like, we can't play this for her. We cannot show her this. This is going to freak her out. And thankfully, I mean, well, I can't tell you exactly, but yes, that does happen, or even you'll uncover things in research that you don't really want to tell them, especially if in the end, it really doesn't have any bearing on the investigation. Maybe you find out something terrible happened in their home, but you don't get any evidence to suggest that what happened is leading to a haunting in their home, or the haunting is, something else. And so those are the kind of questions that we face, and those things happen. And it's tough because these people are in a very delicate mindset. And, that's just something any paranormal team has to be ready for and be very cognizant of.
Right.
So can you guys give us an idea of how many cases you've determined really are experiencing paranormal activity from the past family members? I don't know how many. Have you finished this season, the filming?
We have.
Yeah, we finished.
I don't know if we could say, here's what we say. We don't want to give too much away.
I get it.
Sometimes people believe one thing and it turns out to be another. And sometimes it could be multiple things. And sometimes it doesn't have to be them at all. And that's just something that you'll have to watch and find out.
Yeah. I mean, no case. I will say this: no case was cut and dry. There was no case where we came in and it was easy. So it's definitely every single one poses a new kind of mystery that we unravel throughout the case and subsequently the episode. So,
and I bet trying to get through each case, and especially with the added pressure of knowing that this is filmed for a production too, I'm sure it's draining energetically. It has to be kind of draining for both of you.
Yeah, it was exhausting. I think that it was, the days were very long. I mean, we're talking like we would shoot for, 12 to 16 hours a day for 4 or 5 days in a row. Our crew was amazing, keeping up with us. But, even when we weren't shooting, they go into overtime. So even when we weren't shooting, we were researching on our own or doing things off camera. And it was very trying and mentally and emotionally very trying. I mean, I know like some of the cases were very hard to recover from. Like you took them home with you and you just thought about it. And like, I know we both had like anxiety issues and stuff after, just because there was so much involved.
Yeah. And I would say, when we weren't like staying up late and reviewing evidence or getting up early and reviewing evidence, we were trying to sleep. But the thoughts of like what had happened that day, or trying to piece together this, puzzle, or this, this trying to figure out what was really happening and not being wrong. I mean, it's whatever we're going to tell these families, they have been looking for answers for sometimes decades. So we have to believe wholeheartedly in what we are telling them based on our past experiences, based on evidence, based on experts that we ask questions to and people that we bring in. So, and we have to give them a solution or hopefully find a solution. So it's like, restless nights that way as well. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. And again, it was just Amy and I. So, and our crew was awesome in filming us, but really we were the ones making the decisions on what was happening in the house. And that's a lot of pressure for anyone.
Oh yeah. And I know a lot of us would love to be a little mouse inside, your bag or something, to just spend that week with you to see the whole experience, behind the scenes. Gosh, that would be cool.
That may happen one day.
Yeah, one day. I think that there was also this kind of added element, because one of the biggest reasons why we, went off on our own was just the schedule was crazy, traveling all over the place. So, right. One of the things we said would help us to do a new project is to have it be local and be in New England. And so most of these cases are in New England because this is where we live. My daughter's here, she's 3 and goes to school. And so we would do this stuff. And a lot of these cases, I would just drive home when we'd be done at 2 or 3 in the morning and wake up with my daughter at 6 a.m., get her to school. Mm-hmm. And then I would jet back to the case. And so it was just, I was like, well, maybe this isn't as good of an idea as I thought it was.
Well, there's plenty of haunted locations there. So, I'm sure you could do this for decades and not run out.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, it's for sure.
I think it helped us to be local too, because while we were doing a lot of stuff and it was the schedule was grueling, it didn't feel as disconnected as being, because we were here, we still had our surroundings, we still had our families, and it wasn't like we were in some hotel room in the middle of nowhere for 3 weeks. Not, it was different. So even though it was a lot of work, it was still very satisfying and a lot more easier to swallow, I think, than previous.
Keeping you happy and, feeling, not stressed and away from home, makes a better you, for all of us to see. How cheesy was that? That was so dorky.
Yeah, right. It was fun.
But it's very true. It's so true. It's definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So in general, what are some of the coolest parts about being Amy and Adam, the TV paranormal investigators, that we don't get to see?
Oh, God.
Do you have a stock answer for this one?
I don't think I would venture to say people would be surprised to know just how close Adam and I are off camera as well. Like, it's definitely not just for camera. We're like family. Mm-hmm. And so, even this week we're going to Disney,
I heard about that. Shut up.
Yeah.
Woo! Ben and I are leaving Wednesday, and we're doing Universal and Horror Nights on Thursday, Disney on Friday, Gay Pride on Saturday, and then Bruni comes in on Saturday night, and then we're all Disneying it on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Fly home Wednesday. We both fly home Wednesday, and then on Thursday we both fly. We all just fly out to Mackinac Island for an amazing Strange Escapes event all weekend. So we are clearly friends. Otherwise, we would be killing each other.
I know. We hang out so much. But we voluntarily hang out with each other. Yeah. So I think, it's just one of those things that worked out. We're very into fate. We talk about that all the time, even when we're Kindred Spirits, that just everything happens for a reason. And so we just think Adam and I were brought together for a reason, and that's why we do what we do, and our families are all super close, and it's crazy.
And that's why we end up, causing shenanigans all over the place. We like the same things. We like to go out to fun dinners and drink wine. We like sushi. We like, what else do we like? Shopping, Kohl's. I mean, there's
love to shop.
What'd you say, Amy?
We love to shop. We love a good bargain. We have strange shopping addictions. We really like the Christmas tree shops in New England.
God, yes. Yep. And we like watching TV show. I don't know. It's just fun. Whatever. We're like cool, and we're like normal people, and we have things that we like to do outside of ghost hunting. As I think that's another thing people probably don't realize. Amy runs an event company, a really great vacation getaway company, which is in the same genre as what we do, but completely different. I mean, and really hard to do, in my opinion. And I run a theater company, so we do things outside of our careers, because if you don't, you may go crazy. You have to have other outlets, if you will.
Well, I'll go ahead and, I'll skip to the last question and then we'll bounce back up. But we traditionally ask, not all of my guests, but I ask many of our guests what kind of nerd they are outside of the paranormal, because, I'm a middle school teacher and I encourage nerdiness with my middle school students. They have to look for ways to be nerdy. And I'm pretty sure I know what Adam's answer is, and you kind of went into it, but outside of the paranormal, what kind of nerd are you? Amy, do you want to start?
Gosh, I used to be so much more nerdy than I am now, because I became a mom, and
that sucks the nerd right out of you sometimes, doesn't it?
I'm nerdy for Charlotte, for my daughter, like that. It's just, but yeah, I mean, I used to be so much more. I feel so behind now. I mean, pop culture has just completely escaped me in all respects.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably fail at this. I mean, previously I would say like Star Wars or something, but
she is definitely a wine nerd.
I am a wine nerd. That is true. I really am.
Nerd. You are a traveling nerd because you love to like staying up late, drinking wine, and texting me places we should go. It's like it's like we need to go on this vacation. It's only this much money, and it's a cruise. Let's go. And we're like, okay, cool, let's go.
Let's go.
But neither one of you are like, I don't know, like a closet quilter or super nerdy like that.
No. I'm a theater nerd.
No,
that's for sure.
That's what I expected. Yeah. I didn't know if you'd surprise me or not.
That's easy.
Yeah,
that's easy. That's an easy question. I'm also what else am I nerdy about? I don't know.
Well, we have to also add on to the theater that you have a spectacular voice, and I know because you like to every now and then display that talent at some of the events you go to.
I do occasionally sing. I've been known to carry a tune here and there. Yeah, like I like singing. I think I'm a nerd. I don't know. There's a lot of things. I think what happens, and maybe it's different than Amy a little bit, but I think we were on the road for so long, doing the same thing for so long, that I feel like, it's hard to like get back into what you were doing before all of that, because you were consumed in this thing that you were doing. And when you weren't doing it, you didn't want to do anything. You just kind of wanted to like sit and be and relax. And I think, it's been a couple of years since we've been on Ghost Hunters, and we're kind of getting our feet wet again about what we really like to do and things that we love. Like, we're going to Salem. I love to go to Salem. I love to go antiquing. I mean, that's so gay of me to say, but it's true. I like, and Amy likes that.
I'm there, brother.
And I think
never stop antiquing. That's for sure.
Right. And I think, it's we both, have to kind of, I don't know, get back into it again. I do a lot of things, and Amy does a lot of things. She
I know.
Yeah, you can't talk about your antiquing being gay until, you let me bust out conversations about candles. Then we can compete.
Maybe I'm a candle nerd. Hello. I think Amy's a candle nerd.
Are we in common?
Yeah.
Yes, we love our candles.
Yankee Candle. Like, I went in the other day and they had like buy 2 large candles, get 2 free. I was like, sold. Done it. What did I get? Like autumn leaves, witch's brew, some kind of other thing. I mean, I have candles there.
Oh yeah.
What does your house smell like right now?
Right now? It smells like probably witch's brew. I just make cornbread too. Nice. So, and every time I go to TJ Maxx, I can't help but like go to that clearance candle section and buy like those big candles with like the huge wooden wicks. Like give them all to me.
I love that.
I hate those because I get sucked into them and then I never can burn them down to the bottom, and I'm OCD. And so until I burn them down to the bottom, I can't throw them out. Well, they're so giant.
I've got one big one. I know we're getting on candles, but I've got one huge one here that smells amazing and like literally smells up the whole house. But I've burnt it too much, and so now I've moved on to the big, large Yankee Candle votives. I'm like, I have to burn these over here, or this one's going to disappear, and I don't want it to disappear because it smells so good. We're crazy.
Oh my gosh!
We're in Scream Queens from last season who like burned that, who was like making candles and doing a candle vlog.
Oh my gosh, nerds! So, okay, back to paranormal here. Okay.
Yeah, back to Kindred Spirits.
Okay, so I and many of the listeners of this show are, in general, very interested in spirit communication and tools and gadgets that are sometimes involved in this research. And the tech world of the paranormal seems to be moving so fast. What are some of your favorite tools currently? And I know we don't have to have tools, but what are some of your favorite?
Well, I think that we really when we investigate, we look at it as though we're in a room of people that we don't know, which is, true. And so we don't like to have a lot of gadgets in our hands. So we like things that we can kind of set down in places. So obviously our standby is our recorder. We like always to have a camera rolling, but then as far as equipment that we actually like kind of deploy out and about, we use all sorts of things. We use a lot of like the REM pods to kind of tell us if there's activity happening in other areas. I'm trying to think, what else did we use, Adam? We use the bear a lot.
The bear was good. Our recorder, the DDR60, I think it's the DDR60 Panasonic recorder, which is like the weirdest, craziest EVP recorder on the market. It's a great recorder, and we use that. We use the Zoom recorder. We're a lot of set it and forget it types, like set it in front of a camera so that we can monitor it. We also have our cameras were HD wireless cameras, so we could carry around our monitor so that we could see all the cameras at all times, so we don't have to stay in a stationary position. That was very important for us because we are only two people. Mm-hmm. And Amy is completely right. I mean, we have to be able to connect with whoever we're trying to talk to on a personal, intimate level. So being distracted by too much equipment, I think, hinders that. But we definitely used what we needed to use based on who we were trying to contact.
I see the Ovilus 5 in the background of this premiere episode. I just received my Ovilus 5 last week, and I've only used it on one occasion at a family's house last week. What have been, and I don't have a ton of experience with the Ovilus, what have been your experiences with that, if any?
We definitely, with the Ovilus, it's kind of one of those things that anything that comes out of it on its own is not really enough for us. We use it in conjunction with a lot of other equipment. So, if we're talking about something and the words start to kind of relate to what we're talking to, and then we're getting activity elsewhere, maybe there's something to it. But it's another one of those things we just kind of set up and we just pay attention to it. And but on its own, it's not something we would say, oh, that's evidence, but sometimes things definitely come out of it that we're like, what? How did that happen? We use the spirit box in a very interesting way. You guys will see, and got some really great results with it. So, we try everything, and we're not afraid to try new stuff. But because the stakes are so high, we want to make sure that we're using things that have kind of a proven track record. So we're pretty careful about, what we will, what results we'll call evidence.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah, total spirit communication gadget nerd here. I can't wait to see, the spirit box stuff too. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think you're gonna freak out.
It's really cool. I think the biggest thing that we wanted to try, especially for this first season, was kind of bringing it back to the basics, because I think a lot of people are getting lost in their gadgets and stuff, and I feel like the more people can realize that their own sensibilities and their own intuition actually works as a tool, combined with tools that are easily accessible. Because this whole concept of kindred spirits is we're in families' homes, but these things can happen to you. People can have, like, this can be you. This can be your house. We're not in a giant asylum. We're not in a museum. And so we are using tools that you readily can get that are easy to acquire. And they're not like, this crazy jacked up something that's been rigged that no one will ever have. Mm-hmm. And we kind of wanted to try that. And it worked to our advantage for sure.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but I actually met both of you at an event at one of your first events at Belvoir Winery in Liberty.
Yes, I remember.
You do?
You were sitting at a round table. Yes, I remember you for 100%. I remember you. I was serving wine, I think.
Yeah, I got a selfie right next to you at that table. Yeah.
I told you in the second room on near the corner at the corner table.
Yes.
I know exactly. I never forget anyone.
Yay, Adam remembers me.
Yay.
During the investigation that evening, I recorded video the whole time on my old school Sony Night Shot, and I was so excited to be investigating next to both of you in a few of the locations, and could not wait to brag about my Coolio night vision screenshots with Amy and Adam. And when I left that weekend, I should have had like 3 8mm tapes full of footage from investigations, and every one of them were erased. I even had a video person.
What?
Yes. I had a video person check them out. I've used them for years.
I remember that. You even wrote about that.
Yes.
In an article.
I drew my own little pretend, screenshots with Adam and Amy to be placeholders.
Yeah, you wrote a great article about that event too. I remember because we tweeted it out.
Oh yeah, I made several blogs about that because it was such an awesome experience. But what I want to know is this an Amy and Adam conspiracy because I caught you guys on a bad hair day? Or is it common for a location to be so haunted that, 8mm videotapes are completely erased?
I mean, I would say that there could be some sort of explanation for that. I don't know what, especially since it was all of them. But Belvoir is very, very active. Mm-hmm. And there's, the entities there kind of run the gamut to being very friendly to, hey, don't mess with me. So maybe you met a don't mess with me ghost that didn't want to photo taken.
I will say we did do one of our cases for Kindred Spirits. I can't say what we were doing, but we were sitting in a car and we were going to get out and kind of confront this entity we thought might have been at a specific location. And I start recording on my full spectrum camera, and Amy starts recording on the recorder in the car because I was pretending to be a private eye, like goofing off, like we're normal people. And I remember pressing record, and Amy's pressed record, and we get out of the car and we go and do this extensive EVP session where we just know, we feel like something is happening around us. There is something here. It's thick. It's palpable. And then we're like, oh my God, this thing is totally communicating with us. And we stop everything to play it back. And it had shut off both of our pieces of equipment as we were exiting the car. Literally cut it off. Like, no, you can't record this. We don't want you here. And so I've seen, that happened to us. Mm-hmm. I don't know about it actually just being erased, but they do tend to manipulate objects if they have something to say.
Well, what makes it more interesting, and I always did the whole no of reusing tapes. I had, 8mm tapes that I would reuse over different investigations. And so if it didn't record, there should have been my previous investigation on that tape, but it was snow all the way to the very last second. And to top it all off, that night shot, all the night shots out there are getting old, but it stopped working after that too. So it was just so weird. And I was so sad because I was so prepared to brag about my, Amy and Adam, all in night shot. I was so excited because I'm a giant nerd for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you'll just have to come back and
you
do
know
it
what?
Again.
Don't threaten me because, I'm not too far from Belvoir, and I know you guys go there a lot.
We're going back in April.
So awesome. And I've got several friends that went to Belvoir and met you guys after that too.
We're doing, what are we doing? Next, we're going to Mackinac this month, Mackinac this month, Mount Washington next month, Gettysburg in December, Queen Mary in March, Belvoir in April, a cruise in June.
May.
In June, right?
We leave in May and we come back in June. It's the end of the month. So.
Oh, great. May.
Yeah, basically, we're going to haunted places all the time.
Strange-escapes.com.
Just a few events, no big deal.
Adam's always good for getting that plug.
Hey, I gotta throw it in there.
I will put it in the show notes. It'll be there.
Yay.
If you guys were to be very honest, which I'm sure you are, what would you say to the paranormal investigators out there or future paranormal investigators, a new generation who, like it or not, may be getting their paranormal education from television shows? Would you encourage this? And are there parts of the gig that they don't see that they should definitely be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I have nothing against people kind of getting into the paranormal field because, you know, their love of TV or paranormal TV kind of brought them there. But I just think it's important for them to realize how much more happens beyond what you see on an hour-long TV program. And I also think, you know, we have to realize that it is TV. And while I think for Kindred Spirits, one of the great things about it is that it is all very real. There are a lot of paranormal TV shows out there that I don't necessarily think they're not real, but I definitely think that they are played up for TV a lot more than ours is. So just kind of take everything you see on TV with a grain of salt and do your research. Get out there and read about paranormal investigation and how it started. You know, go back all the way to the 1800s to the Fox sisters and learn all about spiritualism, and because it's super interesting and there's so much more out there to learn. And then just kind of broaden your horizon and it's definitely not something to rush into. You know, if it is something you're interested in, you know, talk to local paranormal teams, go to an event or a paranormal conference and meet people with the same interest as you and take it slow. But it's a very rewarding field. It is one to be taken very seriously, but at the same time, you know, it's a fun hobby, and, you know, don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. That's our other piece of advice.
I mean, I would say two things. Somebody actually did an interview today, and somebody was like, so you take this really seriously? And I was like, yes. What? Yes, I do. But I would also say on the flip side of that, I think what's really cool about Kindred Spirits is families who think they might be having activity in their home. They can learn a lot from the advice that we are giving these families that we're helping, because we see a lot of the same things in many different homes. And I think if someone thinks they're having activity in their home, they can listen to the advice that we're giving to these family members and kind of use that to help their situation. And I think that's kind of cool, because I don't know if that's ever been an option before, I guess. I mean, maybe it has, but I think it's a more personal level now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have to humor me. I'm just going to mention two things since, you know, I've got you here on Skype. You know, you're trapped. You can't hang up or anything, I'm sure. Hey. So, Adam, I just have to say that your involvement in the investigation of the upstairs lounge several years ago really hit me hard, and I so appreciated that episode. And just really quick, I wanted to know what kind of moment that was for you.
It was really the funny thing about that. I mean, not the funny thing. I mean, the interesting thing about that, I think 2 days before the case, I didn't know what the case was. Like, no one had told me that this was, quote unquote, the LGBTQ case that we were doing on Ghost Hunters. And I was first shocked. So I started researching and reading. I actually read a book about the whole situation before we went in. And I was glad that we were, I guess, showcasing that kind of event or that tragedy on television so that people could remember it. But I didn't change the way, neither did Amy. I don't think none of us really changed the way that we investigated because it was that kind of case. We still did, and which is great, because that's what you do. I mean, it's a normal case. I did have my advantages. Like, I was able to speak to them personally as a member of the community, which I think helped get answers. But I think it was very rewarding, and I think we all kind of jumped in it head first. And I was proud of Sci-Fi for actually showcasing that kind of material on television.
I have to tell you, I had my own little moment after that episode, and I blogged about it, and I was so very upset that it took a paranormal show for me to know about it. I couldn't believe that I didn't know that was a part of our history. And so after that, I was just on this journey for a while of sharing it with people, just like, guys, we got to know this happened. I mean, how sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a sensitive subject for, I think, for the community in Louisiana, but in New Orleans. But I'm glad we did it. And it's unfortunately, it's not on the list anymore. I mean, we have the Pulse nightclub shooting, so it's right. It's still there, and I think it's whatever. People are crazy, and I hate, we always say we're more afraid of people and animals than ghosts, and it's true.
Yeah.
But it was good to find answers for that community and to really connect with those people that had passed on. So I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad you wrote about it.
Oh, seriously. So Amy, we love Adam, but I've been a fan. I've been a fan since even before Adam was involved. And I know that there are many people who also miss the duo of you and Chris Williams. You guys were a great team. Are you guys still buds?
Yeah, I mean, I do keep in touch with Chris, and I'd like to see her more often, but she has this man in Australia, and so I think she spends a few months at a time there and then comes back to New Hampshire, and so we try to connect when we can, but we'll regularly have, some text chats back and forth and, try to keep up on what's going on in each other's life. So we definitely are still in touch, and I'm happy that she's happy, but I selfishly do miss getting to hang out with her more.
Yeah, you guys were a good team too. You know what? I'm so excited that you guys would talk to me, and I'm so excited to share this with the world. And so I'll let you guys close it out however you want to. But again, Kindred Spirits premieres on Friday, October 21st, and 10/9 Central, and that's going to be next Friday by the time everybody's hearing this on TLC. I've seen it, and I'm super excited for seeing the updated version of the premiere that I haven't seen, but also the rest of the season. So, close it out however you guys want to. If there's other links or events you want to share that I haven't given you the opportunity to do.
No, I mean, I think we covered most of it. I mean, again, Kindred Spirits, it's a whole new ball game, and I think people need to get ready for the feels, as Grant Wilson said. Bring your tissues, get ready to laugh, get ready to cry. Each episode is just a total journey with these families.
Yeah, and tell your friends, tell your people you hate, tell everybody, tell your grandmother. Turn on your television, watch it, tell people about it. Get excited. I mean, this is going to be, I think it's a new day for paranormal television. And we worked really hard on it. So we hope that everyone loves it as much as we do.
Well, good luck to you two. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Big Seance Podcast with Patrick Keller. Look for us on iTunes and be sure to check out bigseance.com for more discussion.
I want to thank Amy and Adam for joining us in the parlor today. As I said in the interview, I've seen the premiere episode, and I look forward to watching it again along with the rest of the season. I really do think you're going to like it. If it's possible, could you please do me a favor? Could you share this episode either on Facebook or on Twitter, or simply by telling a friend or even subscribing them to the Big Seance in the podcast app on their phone? Be creative. I totally don't make money on this. It's a passion that does keep me pretty busy, and my Paranerd listeners are the ones who make this show grow, and it's your support that keeps me going. You guys rock. I'd love to know what you thought about this episode. And better yet, tweet me, and you can even tag Amy and Adam as well. I can't wait to hear. We received an iTunes review this week, and this is from Jug John, who says, "Awesome podcast," and it comes with 5 stars. Jug John says, "I spent the past month on a listen binge of all these episodes. They were awesome. Patrick Keller is a great host and does a wonderful job bringing the parlor feel to these episodes. I prefer coffee, by the way. He interviews great guests and does a great job at it. I can't say that I have a favorite episode or favorite guest, but I can say that none of them are boring at all. They all are very in-depth and exciting. I love them all. I am a paranerd and pleased to be a part of the Big Seance community. Patrick Keller, you rock. Thanks for what you do. I tried to investigate just who this amazing paranerd was, but I failed. So Jug John, you rock. Those words mean so much to me. I've also had several people go out of their way to reach out to me in the last week or two. So special shout outs go to Rhodey, Lene, Amber, Chrissy, Carrie, Doran, Leslie, Jen, and Kathleen. You guys rock. Hey, if you haven't joined us in the Big Seance Parlor yet on Facebook, please do. It's been a fun and chatty place lately. Well, that's it for today. I hope to have another episode out for you in about a week as we make our way closer and closer to Halloween. See ya. For show notes, including links to anything we may have mentioned in this episode, visit bigseance.com. Just click on the Big Seance Podcast logo or find it in the menu. You can also find and subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio. Do you have any comments or feedback? Go to bigseance.com/feedback to learn how to get your voice in a future show. Or you can call my feedback line, 7755-TELL-ME. That's 775-583-5563. Interested in learning how to promote and share the podcast? Go to bigseance.com/share. Thank you so much for listening. Unfortunately, it's time to blow the candles out, but we'll see you and light them again next time.